I was in Opus Dei from the age of 16, technically, until I was 22. I was 16 when I was given a chain and a whip, and I was told to mortify myself. I was instructed to mortify myself. It wasn't voluntary. There was no kind of, I suppose, no lead into it, no discernment. And I was told that this was, the founder did it, but we only had to do it for 2 hours a day. So I wore this chain on my leg for 2 hours a day. Sometimes it was increased if they felt you were struggling with your vocation, as it were. It was never decreased, but it was increased. And so that was part of the mortification. There was loads of other little things they had to do as well.
So,
part of mortification.
So punishing yourself, it
was a form of self-harm.
Self-harm, exactly.
It was a form of self-harm that was approved by the organisation and that we had to impose on ourselves, yeah.
When you first started, if I just want to get my head around this, when you were 15 years old, you're away from your family, the context with your family isn't there. And we were very Catholic. It's 1979. We were a very Catholic country at the time anyway. Did you think, when you were like, why am I going to Mass every day as part of my diploma? Like, when did things start to... Because you became a member yourself when you were 16.
Yeah, when I was 16.
It's not like you could leave, though, could you?
Could leave the course or to leave the...
To leave the course, to leave everything?
Well, I mean, I had given up a lot to do the course, so, you know, so I said, look, I'll see it out. But then what happened then was, as part of the course, we were assigned mentors to help us with our studies. But what was happening was that you were talking to these mentors, they were members of Opus Dei, and you were telling them personal things about yourself, and they were very friendly, very nice, you know, really, really friendly and very interested in us. And in me. So you'd start sharing your teenage angst and little problems that you had, and they'd say, sure, why don't you say a prayer? Why don't you pray to the founder? Why don't you just pray, go into the oratory? So gradually, you know, next thing, the idea of a vocation was introduced. And I was asked, did I know what an assistant numerary was? And then I was told, look, you have a vocation as big as a house. And it was very quick, but it was gradual, but it was quick.
Yeah, and a 15-year-old mind, yeah, that
15, 16-year-old mind, yeah. Everything was controlled. You know, our behaviour was controlled, our behaviour was corrected. You know, we had very, our contact with the outside world, with our families and friends was very, very regulated. Our phone calls were listened to, our post was opened up. There was many letters I didn't get. You know, so, and our life inside there was being invisible and living in silence, you know, delivering this first-class domestic service to the elite of Opus Dei.